Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about some interesting information regarding Mephisto that I feel like the community has almost completely missed because it flew under the radar. It's only been live for 3 hours, and I didn't even recognize it at first glance. People had to tag me on Twitter about it. So what am I talking about? So 3 hours ago, Marvel Future Fight tweeted out, "No one is more hungry for mortal souls than Mephisto, the demonic underworld ruler who has manipulated countless heroes into serving him. Is there a force more evil than Mephisto?" And they posted this like agent archive video, and we're very familiar with these videos. They've done them for Null, Sentry, and a whole bunch of other characters, Icarus, whatever. There's nothing new here, or so we thought. If you go through the video, and shout out to the people that tweeted me and said, hey, check out the video. If you go through the video and you watch, so there's voiceover by someone at Netmarble, which is fine. But if you go through the video and you watch the gameplay, you will notice something unique. And I'll sort of play this out so you guys can see here. You're gonna see Mephisto. There he is. I don't know if you guys caught it there. I'll give you guys another round of visuals so you guys can see. Okay, it's after the skills. If you skip forward here, and I loaded this on YouTube so you guys can see that the high quality version. So here is another example of what I'm talking about, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up on it this time. This is very interesting to me. So, and that okay, so what's going on here? Mephisto in this agent archive is universal type. So you can see here he is showing his health bar as a universal. At the beginning of the video as well, he is shown as a universal type right over here. And there's actually a third point in time where he's shown as universal. But as you can see in the editing, later on when they did more testing or when they got more images for him, he's a blast type. Now there are multiple things, there are multiple answers for why this could be. Right? I don't think they did this on purpose. I don't think this is hinting at a uniform for Mephisto. I think in an earlier build, they had Mephisto as a universal, and I'm pretty sure they had him as a universal for both phases, because you can see here he's in the demon phase with the horns, and he's universal, and over here he is also universal, even though he is in the like small regular Mephisto transformation. And I think later on in the development of the character, they decided, you know what, let's change him and make him a blast type instead of making him a universal. Now, I know some people are going to be like, man, we should have had universal Mephisto, and they're going to be upset and whatever, or, because universals are really strong in Marvel Future Fight. But, so I'm bringing this to your attention because it's funny to see this sort of slip up and to know that there was an iteration, there was a design for Mephisto where he was universal, not blast. And that was probably what they had going into the design. But I'm actually really glad. I basically wanted to make this video not only to tell you guys, but also to thank the developers for not making him universal. Because universal types have dominated Marvel Future Fight, not only as playable characters, but as most of the content that you play against. Right? If you think about most contents, you're fighting against a universal boss. Most of the world bosses are universal. There's much more balance now because they purposely made these ones combats, blast, and speed, which was great, but not a lot of people play those bosses. And I also wanted to make this video to highlight that fact, but to tell the developers, in case they don't know, that players don't play these ones not because of the bosses being speed, combat, and blast. They don't play these 4 bosses because they drop Phoenix Feathers and Emkron Crystals instead of Black Antimatter and Chaos Nornstones, which we need so much more of. So I really encourage the devs to continue doing this sort of thing, because if you think about it, besides Mephisto and besides those 4 over there, everyone else on this page is universal. If you go over to the rest of the fights, right, most of the difficult story mode bosses are universal. Let's continue. Squad battle, Surtur, he's universal. Okay, let's continue. Danger room, okay, Danger room, it's all blast. It's Strife, Magneto, and Jean Grey. Cool. Timeline battle, most of the best characters are universal. You're fighting against other players. Alliance battle, universal, right? The Frost Beast is universal. Giant boss raid, both of them are universal. Master Mold Master Mold changes type now, but before he was universal, and now Galactus is universal. World boss invasion, these are all universal. When it changes over to Odin and friends, some of them are universal. Some of them are universal, or all of them are universal. You get my point, right? Like 60%, 70% of the bosses and the different enemies you fight in this game are all universal. So it really downplays the need to build combat speed and blast types. It doesn't really focus on or encourage this sort of triangle. And it also overemphasizes the value of universals, because not only do universals have no weakness, right? Universals don't take extra damage from any other character type, but they also deal more damage to the other 3 types, speed, blast, and combat. So even though you deal a lot more damage, like I can deal up to 60% more damage if I'm a blast type attacking a combat type, I can still deal 20% more damage as a universal to a combat type. So sure, I'm missing 40%, but I still get 20% to blast types and 20% to speed types on top of that. So I'm still technically getting a 60% bonus. It's just spread out over the 3 types. And so you see that in things like PvP, where universal types are just way more valuable than combat, blast, and speed until they push other types. So I think this is a really good first step, and I'm really hoping that the future World Boss Legends are going to continue that. If we're going to have more World Boss Legends, I'm really hoping to see ones that are speed and combat to complement the blast that we already have. We need more like end game characters and really strong characters that are not universal, because think about it this way, okay? Think about it this way. Some people were griping and some people were upset or whatever. They're like, man, Mephisto would have been stronger if he was universal. Maybe he would have been stronger just because of the way the game has shaken out. But instead of him being universal, what if Sentry or Null had been combat? Let's just say, okay, you're probably calling me crazy, but for example, Gladiator is combat, right? Apocalypse is combat. It doesn't really make sense. So, you know, the typing doesn't necessarily, you know, Doctor Strange is blast and not universal, but Dr. Voodoo is universal, right? So anyways, just imagine Sentry was combat type, right? If Sentry was combat type, and he was still as good as he would still be number 1 or number 2 for PvP, but he would have made Blast Jean Grey a lot better than she is now, and it would have made Mephisto even better because of the counterplay between combat and blast. On the flip side, if Sentry had been speed, he would have erased Jean Grey, Blast Jean Grey, from the meta completely, because there's no way she's going to last against him. And then he would have been a great counter to Mephisto, but he would get bullied even more by Luke Cage because he's a combat type. So the game really has, from the point of view of counterplay, you know, obviously if you're a casual player or if you don't really care about the typing and you just want to play with your favorites or to play with the strongest, it doesn't really matter. I don't want typing to run the game or to you know, influence the decisions you make. Like, oh, I have to rank up this character because of typing. I understand that the devs don't want to go too far in that direction, and maybe I might sound like I want to go too far in that direction sometimes. I don't. But when there is more variety, it's really good, because take a look down this list. Null, Sentry, Dormammu, Molecule Man, Odin, now Scarlet Witch, Silver Surfer, Thanos, Jean Grey. Look at how many universals there are. Look at how many cool endgame, you know, cosmic level threats there are. Captain Marvel, Ghost Rider, Thor, Vision, right? They're all universal. And it kind of, you know, I think it would be, it's not boring that they're all universal, but I definitely think it would be more fun if we had more typings. So I'm really glad that the devs went ahead and scrapped their initial idea, which we can see here in the video, their initial idea of making him universal, and they're like, you know what, let's make him blast. I think that was 1,000,000,000% the right decision. And furthermore, I want to see more of that with future World Boss Legends and with future World Boss future content. Like, if we're gonna get another GBR, it would be great if it's not a universal boss. If we're gonna, like, you know, if we got new squad battle bosses in the future, or whatever, even new content in the future, I would want there to be a mixture of bosses. And that's one thing that I really like about dispatch missions, is they didn't just slap a bunch of end game universal bosses on the stages. You can see the bosses are actually combat, blast, and speed, either entirely or the vast majority, which is really good. It also does benefit universal types because they don't have to worry about typing at all. You can see, like, a universal will just cover all 3 of those. But it also means that if you're struggling at the end with the boss specifically, bringing in those type advantageous characters could be the difference between winning and losing. Last but not least, I also want to throw this monkey wrench at you. It's not that, you know, there's like a 1% chance this happens. There's like a 0.1% chance this happens. or a 0.01% chance this happens. What if they change the typings on some of the Black Order? What if they make Corvus a speed type? What if they make Supergiant a blast type? What if they make Cull Obsidian a combat type? That would be kind of cool, no? Would that? I don't know. For me personally, I think that would be really cool because Cull Obsidian is basically Hulk with axes. He's Hulk with weapons, right? He's Hulk with a big axe and a big mace. Is he not? Kind of is. He doesn't transform from a human, but otherwise, what's really different about these two hulking brutes? Yeah, Hulk's better overall, sure, but you sort of get what I'm saying. Anyways, hit me in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this revelation. That's the word I was looking for at the beginning of the video. Revelation that Mephisto was originally a universally designed character. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.